At least, because they're white, because you're taking a lot of white oak,
Mm-hmm.
would say at least 5. Maybe you could get up into the 7, 7.5. But again,
For 1,000?
Yeah,
Like total for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's not much monetary value.
Not a whole lot,
Yeah.
because they're big, kind of over mature trees. They're fence row trees.
Yeah.
The right species. They want white oak right now, but
So you're looking at like one tree, like if they did 75 trees, you might average $100 a tree.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, value in improving the habitat
right.
is probably worth another 7,500.
Right, yeah,
So it's like, so okay. Yeah.
Yep, that's definitely what
And then how much time would you spend, like if I hired you to bid it out?
So I could mark it in a day,
Mm-hmm.
and then it takes.
And then,
I send advertisements out.
Yep.
I usually give them about 3 weeks to come view it. They place their bid, and then typically I award the highest bidder the purchase agreement. It's typically good for for 2 years.
okay.
And some of that plays on, like you guys obviously hunt this. How long are you going to exclude a big portion of the fall season for hunting?
Mm-hmm.
And so that plays into
Mm-hmm.
to the contract duration.
Gotcha. So if I had you mark it, like let's say I had you mark it in January this year, because it's easy to market and get around
Yeah.
and really make sure you know which ones I want you to take. Then for 2 years from that January, they would come in literally any time of the year, or
Well, we dictate that in the purchase agreement.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Because
But
I would
they-
guess
but-
they'd
but-
come in during the summer because you have summer access.
Yep.
A lot of ground down here is cropped in.
yeah.
So you have summer access. So I would imagine they'd do it in July, August, September
Okay.
time frame, and then I would assume from October through whenever you probably wouldn't want them here.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose in December I might not care. I
Okay.
might say, you know what, I just,
Yeah.
not that
Yeah.
big a deal.
But no, you dictate all that
Yeah.
in the purchase agreement, and I put an oak wilt restriction on the job. I don't know if you're familiar
Yes,
with
I know
oak
about
wilt
I
disease.
know about oak
so
wilt.
from April 1st to July 15th, that's another window where they can't cut.
Sure.
And we are mostly managing oaks here.
Yeah.
So it's pretty important.
Right. So like I could bring you in anytime, this fall, summer, winter, bring you in, and then foreseeably get it done within 12 months.
Yeah. Obviously,
like-
they'd have a 2-year contract,
Yeah.
but a lot of times they get it done that first year.
Okay. And then,
Usually, if the job is wet,
Yeah.
they take that
Yeah.
2-year time frame because they're trying to play the weather.
okay. And then, do you have a percentage commission that you charge?
Yeah, it starts at 10%,
Mhm.
but
Depends on
I
the
determine
job.
there's a minimum
Yeah.
that I'll kind of come up with, and
Yep.
if we do multiple jobs, or if I
Mm-hmm.
can tie them all into one sale, usually then it just comes out to that 10%.
Great.
You add more trees and it adds more value. So.
Is there any challenge getting loggers in here? Is this enough trees to be
Yeah.
desirable for many loggers?
Like if you just did this lot that we just looked at, yeah, I'll get a few bids on it. They're not going to go crazy for it.
Because they're not enough.
Yeah, it's the quality.
Combo
isn't
of
quite the,
it's both quality
low
and
volume,
yeah.
lower quality.
Yeah.
But summer access is nice because some guys have trouble finding it down here.
Mhm. Okay.
But yeah, so as a forester, I put oak wilt on. Some lots of guys don't because they just got to get wood to the mill.
Yeah.
So you add oak wilt, add a hunting restriction. Some buyers walk away from it because
Yeah.
they say that's too much.
Right.
I can't deal with that.
Right.
So it's challenging, but I think we could definitely get it sold. You might
Yeah.
not have that super competitive bidding going on.
Yeah.
What is a minimum volume or number of trees
Well,
that's usually in high demand, like the minimum?
it varies a lot. I've sold one walnut before, but But I
Right, if
I
it's right
shoot-
by the road. Or,
Yeah, it's in it. Yeah,
Okay.
pretty easy access. But no,
Couple hundred, 300 is usually.
well, no, like in your like 100, like 75 to 100, I can do that. You get into that 30-40,000 total board foot range, and that's a reasonable sale. You get much below 30,000, and it's challenging because it doesn't pay a guy to move a skidder and
Right.
truck and all that here. So
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
unless you tie it, then I end up trying to tie it into other projects if
Yeah.
it gets smaller than that.
And the tie-in to other projects, what's the proximity to call that a tie-in? Within a couple miles?
Miles, yeah, where they can, when they're comfortable driving their equipment to the other job, where they don't have to hire a
Okay.
high-low, a trailer to take them somewhere.
The last question I want to ask before we leave this this property is: you mentioned Norway spruce and Black Hills spruce.
Mm-hmm.
That's one that I don't typically hear about. I hear about the white a lot,
Yeah.
but what you like the Black Hills spruce?
I do. It's a little more resistant to the needle cast disease.
Mhm.
It's just a stouter, tougher tree, but it grows very slow.
Yeah.
But it's a cute little tree. You don't have to shape it very much. It just grows slow and steady. But white, I've seen get needle cast disease like a blue spruce.
Yeah.
They're not quite as hardy as a Black Hills. Black Hills is kind of a play on a white spruce and a black spruce. It comes from a certain
Okay.
region where there's kind
So a
of
pure black spruce, that's more of a bog type
Yes.
species,
They're
right?
narrower.
they're more conical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like for
So a
like-
Black Hills is almost a hybrid, you're
Yeah,
saying?
it's kind of an in between.
They
Okay.
make nice Christmas trees.
They do.
Yeah. I just saw a YouTube video on the Black Hills for Habitat people